just told him I can only try to be better.
So when you guys are out there and you're in like that 19-0 run at state or something like that, thought ever enter your mind, hey, maybe this might be a time to call a timeout, or you guys just see what you do?
Honestly, since I've been here, I've never thought about calling a timeout, ever. And it's not even because Coach says not to. It's just he's going to call it when he's ready. And when he wants one, he'll tell somebody to call it. But I know his philosophy. If we can play ourselves into that hole, we can play ourselves out. And that's just what we had to do. We had to come together on the court and figure it out.
Have you ever been surprised when he's called
one? No. No, he knows when to call it. He knows when he needs to. So it just doesn't come as a surprise. Sometimes I need it, honestly.
Kenny, he's been open in the past that really the only time he wants to call a timeout is when he senses that the team is maybe losing a little bit of confidence. Does that match up with kind of your experience, your memories?
Yeah. The only time I can think of him calling a timeout would be like the last couple minutes. I honestly don't even remember him calling a timeout in the middle of a game. It's always at the end when we had to think of some strategy or something like that. But I don't remember many timeouts in the middle of a game.
Okay, what do you see out of Louisville? They're got a big game tomorrow night, and they're going to be looking for a marquee win over you guys. What have you seen on tape out of them that makes them kind of difficult? Obviously, they've got some very talented guards.
We haven't watched any. We will watch some later today before practice, but we don't watch it. We don't watch the tape a couple days in advance. It's always the day before, and that's when we'll get ready and focus on Louisville. I haven't watched any myself. It's pretty much the same thing. Once I get to the hotel, I watch a little bit more, but really I just trust what the coaches say and use what I can after that. After they give me all the information, I take that into the game.
Well, Coach said you guys were able to get a few days off this week. How are your bodies feeling rested getting back to practice yesterday?
Oh, I feel great. Personally, I feel great. I could tell the difference when I was shooting jump shots yesterday as opposed to maybe Friday or Saturday. There's a big difference in my lift on my jump shot, so I feel pretty good right now.
So the offense has taken off in the past 4 games. You guys have been running a little bit harder. Is there a particular way that you guys have been able to push the tempo just a little bit more?
We've been getting more stops. That's where it starts. If we can get stops and get the ball off the rim and get it out quickly, then it starts our fast break a little bit faster, and I think that's the difference in these last 4 games is teams aren't hitting as many shots, so we're able to get the ball off the rim, get the outlet pass, and get it up the floor quicker. So that's been the key thing these past 4 games.
Kenny, this is a big game tomorrow with regard to the ACC standings and that double bye of the ACC tournament. Is that something that, I know it's not a focus, but is that something you're aware of, the critical nature of these games coming up?
Yeah. We know how critical it is for us to finish the season off strong, finish the regular season off strong in terms of ACC tournament. We know how critical the double bye is, and we just want to keep our momentum going. We don't want to let off the gas at all right now at this point in the season. We want to finish as strong as we can and take whatever momentum we can into the ACC tournament.
To have that tough stretch of 3 games in 5 days for you guys and to be as successful as you were during that time, does that kind of add a little confidence heading into the final 4 games or whatever of the season for you guys?
I think so. For everybody, we as a team we can see just how good we can be when we play with effort and we play with energy. We bring it on the defensive end, and we can use that going forward. And then individually, we had guys have some big games. I can particularly, Joe's been consistent the whole stretch, and like Luke, for example, his game at State He know he can take over a game when he needs to. Theo was Theo. Cam hit some shots. Cam made a lot of shots over the stretch, and myself started to make some shots, started to get into a groove. So as a team, I think we're starting to find our groove on both ends of the floor, and we can just take that, like I said, take that momentum into this final stretch.
You just said Theo is Theo. What does that mean to you when you say Theo is Theo?
Affecting the game. You can't say specifically what it's going to be, but he's going to affect the game somehow, whether it be 10 rebounds, 10 assists, or 10 points. He's going to bring something to the team. He's not just going to be out there getting cardio, and he's going to find a way to affect the game in some way. And that's what Theo is. That's who Theo is, and that's what he does.
Speaking of Theo, he mentioned a month or so ago, after one of the games, he tries to be the more optimistic senior. He lets Joel kind of get on people more.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a yin and yang type thing with those two. In terms of leadership and what they've brought as seniors, can you kind of speak to that dynamic?
That's just what it is. Theo, you'll have Joel. If it gets to that point, Joel will get on somebody, and he'll let them know what he's thinking, what's on the top of his head, and it's not always the nicest thing. But then, Theo, you'll go to the sideline after Joel will get on you, and Theo will come, and he'll offer some encouragement. Like you said, it's a yin and yang thing. They kind of balance each other out. But Theo he's always the one that's a little. I will say he thinks about what he says a little bit more. He tries to be a little bit more positive, but everything Joel says is a negative, but sometimes it just might have to be that way because of how competitive he is and how he might get angry sometimes. But yeah, those two do balance each other out, and I think it's great. It's the balance we need from this team, because sometimes you need that person that's ultra aggressive. But I feel like you always need that one that's going to offer the encouragement and be a little bit more positive.
Can you take me back to that sequence of the state game where you get the shot after they cut it to 2? I was asking Coach about it. It didn't seem like anybody called a play, or maybe Joel did. Or
it wasn't a play. It wasn't. It was in our freelance. I think Theo posted up on the elbow. We had been successful with him a couple of times in that second half where Theo just posted up on the elbow and let the other 4 guys work off of each other. We got some layups off of it. But Theo found me on the 3-point line, and I pump faked because I knew he was coming out. I knew Alaric was coming out hard, so I pump faked, and then I saw Dorn kind of come out, but at that point I had already got the shot into my pocket, so it was too late for him. And if he would have came out a little bit more aggressive, I would have kicked it to Cam. But he was a little late, so I got the shot in my pocket and I just let it go. And once I let it go, I knew it was good. I didn't have any doubt. I knew everybody on the court didn't have any doubt. So that's just the kind of confidence we built in each other.
Do you have to look at each other to understand that? Like, what is the cue to know? Okay, Theo's going to post up on the elbow, and this is what we're going to do.
The first time, I was kind of surprised, honestly, because in that set that we ran, the first time it was a set. Theo was supposed to go all the way to the paint and then post up, but he posted up on the block, and he asked for it, so I just gave it to him, and we got a layup. That was the first time we got a layup, so Theo was like, okay, we're gonna keep doing that until they stop it, and we kept doing it, and we kept getting layups, and it kept working, and we stopped doing it for a little bit, but when we got to that crunch time, we went back to that, see if they could stop it, and we capitalized on it. So,
is there anything the world doesn't really know about Theo, or is he always kind of the happy, funny, fun-loving guy?
what you see on the camera is Theo. He's no different whether there's a camera in or whether he's just with us in private. He's always going to be Theo. It could be one person around. It could be 100,000 around. He's always going to try to find a way to get a laugh out of everybody in the room. And that's just who he is. He doesn't change up for anybody.
Do you remember kind of your first impression, or when you first met him during recruiting and all that stuff? Does he kind of just take the spotlight in the room every time?
I will say it was a little different when I first came recruiting. I didn't notice him as much as you would notice him now. If Theo walks in the room, he's going to let everybody know it. And when I was recruiting, it wasn't really like that. But that's the only difference.
Anything else?
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken. No problem.
Thanks, Kenny, appreciate it.